So I get off, call Tanner, and I say, babe, don't freak out, but my water just broke and you need to come home. And he's like, oh crap, like, this is for real. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming my labor and delivery story. I've had a couple people ask me to film it, and a lot went on during my labor and delivery, so this is just kind of like background to what I went through. And I'm sorry if you guys hear Kane in the background. Of course, he's right here, and he's being very whiny today and he's not letting me record anything. Okay, so it was the 16th of February and it was a Tuesday, and I went to work and I started cramping really bad. I thought something was wrong, so I called my doctor and the nurse answered and she said that everything sounded fine until she asked me if I felt like I was leaking fluid, and I said, yeah, I do feel like I'm leaking fluid. And she's like, well, your water could break and gush out, or your water could drip. And I was like, okay. So she was like, I would go to the hospital, do not come to the doctor, just go straight to the hospital. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I called my mom as soon as I was leaving work, and she said, okay, call me when you get up there and I'll meet you up there. Well, then I called Tanner, my husband, and I said, I think my water broke, this is what they told me, and we're going to the hospital. And he's like, okay, and he gets very nervous. He even threw up, like, he was so scared. So we came home, we packed our bag, we got everything we thought we needed, and put it in our car and went up there. Well, we got up there, I told him everything, what happened. My mom was up there, my grandma was up there. Well, they checked me, I stayed there for a little bit, drank a lot of water. They checked me again and nothing had changed. So my water did not break, so they sent me home. And I was cramping really bad still, but I was just gonna wait it out because he was 5.5 weeks early. So yeah. So then later that night we came home and I just went to bed, and the next day we were off work and nothing was out of the ordinary. We just went on with our day or whatever. And then Thursday came around and I had to work again, and I was working a 10-hour shift that day. So I was walking all day long, came home, started cleaning my house because I was like, well, it could happen any day, so I'm gonna clean my house and make sure everything's clean when we come home. Well, my husband, he worked overnights at his job, so he was at work when I was at home that night. And so it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I got up to go to the bathroom, which is my normal time to go to the bathroom when I was pregnant. I would get up every day at 3 o'clock in the morning to go pee. So I got up to go pee, didn't think anything of it, just went pee as normal, nothing felt weird or anything. So then I go to lay back down and I feel like water drip down my leg, and I was like, okay, that's weird. I just peed myself, I think. So then I get up and go back to the bathroom, and I thought I was just peeing again. So I started peeing again, and nothing was weird. I was just whatever. And I was half asleep, so I didn't really realize what was going on. And I came and laid back down, and I feel this really running water down my leg. So I was like, what the heck? So I got up, went to the bathroom, and just water gushed all over the floor. And I was like, oh crap. Well, I had bought like women diapers because I thought that'd be more comfortable than wearing a pad when I was at the hospital. So I had those, so I put one on because I was literally leaking, like it just keeps leaking, it doesn't stop. So I put one of those on and sat on the toilet, and I called my mom and I was like, oh my god, my water just broke and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, who's gonna answer? Tanner's at work, what am I gonna do? So I called my mom, she didn't answer. I called her again, she didn't answer. I called my grandma, she didn't answer, and I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god, somebody answer their phone. So I called my sister and she answered her phone and she's like, hello, and I was like, I think my water just broke. She's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I think it just broke. Like, I'm gushing water and I'm pretty sure it just broke. She's like, well then you need to get to the hospital. And I was like, but I'm not cramping or anything. It's just, my water broke. Like, it doesn't hurt, nothing's bleeding, I'm not doing anything. And so I was like, let me get off here and call my mom. So I called my brother's phone and he did answer, and I said, go wake up mom and tell her that my water broke. So he went in there, knocked on her door, told her that my water broke, and she starts freaking out. She's like, well, how do you know? And I'm like, because there's water all over the floor. Like, I don't think it's pee. I mean, there's nothing else it could be, it's my water. And she's like, okay, well, you need to get to the hospital. Where's Tanner at? And I was like, he is at work. I don't know what to do. She's like, well, you need to call him, tell him he needs to get home. So I get off, call Tanner, and I say, babe, don't freak out, but my water just broke and you need to come home. And he's like, oh crap, like, this is for real. And I was like, yeah, it wasn't for real the other day, it is for real now. So he calls the manager of the store and says, hey, my wife's water just broke, can you come in? And she's like, yeah. Well, it ended up taking 3 hours for her to get there. So it's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm just at home making sure all of our bags are packed, make sure we have what we need. Since I know this is for real this time, I make sure we have everything, because last time we went to the doctor, or the hospital, we forgot so much stuff. We forgot his baby book, we forgot so much stuff, like socks, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, okay, this time we're going to pack everything. So I waited those 3 hours, was cleaning the house still, making sure we had everything we needed. And he comes home, he gets changed and everything, and we head up to the hospital. Well, they checked me and they said, yeah, your water for sure broke. And by this time it was like 7 probably, and they were just waiting to see if I would progress by myself and if I would dilate even more, which didn't happen. So at like 8:30 they started Pitocin, and they started increasing it like every 3 or 4 hours, and around like 3 o'clock it was getting to like hurt really bad. Like, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to keep going pee every 5 minutes, and I had to wait in between a contraction because it hurt so bad. And so finally I said, I'm ready for my epidural, and they're like, okay, well, let's check you and make sure you're dilated. And they're like, oh yeah, you're almost a 6, let's go ahead and give you that. And so before that, when they put my IVs in when I got to the hospital, was the worst pain ever. My veins were moving around and they couldn't find them, and when they put it in, and my vein would pop and it would hurt so bad, and I bawled my eyes out when they did this hand over here. And the lady was like, okay, I made you cry, I'm gonna bring somebody else in to do your other one. And I was like, okay. So I calmed down, I quit crying, but it hurt so bad. My hand was throbbing, my hand was bruised. This girl came in and did my other hand over here, and she did the same thing. She busted my vein, and I was bawling again because it hurt so bad. This hand was bruised, And I was just so mad. Like, I was like, I'm done. This is so stupid. I don't ever want to give birth again if I have to do IVs. Like, that's not even the bad part. And this is already hurting. So, the anesthesiologist was on the floor already, and they said, okay, can you come in and put an IV in this girl in there? And he was like, yeah. So, he got it in the first time, and I was like, thank Jesus. I fully trust you to put a freaking huge needle in my back. And he came in after they said I was ready to get my epidural, and he put it in. It didn't hurt at all. It pinched a little bit, but when that thing went in, it was the best feeling ever, and I went to sleep. Like, I didn't even have to push. You can push your button every 15 minutes, so 4 times an hour, and I did not have to push it once after he put it in, and it was so nice to have the epidural. Like, if you don't get it, oh my god. I will definitely be using an epidural for my next kid too. Like, it is a lifesaver. That pain, for like, looking back at it now, it's like, okay, well, that was not that bad, because obviously I'm still here, I'm doing perfectly fine, and all that stuff. So I don't even remember the pain, honestly. I know at that point it did hurt, and I was in a lot of pain, but I remember, but like, I'm like, okay, well, it's already passed, my body's back to normal. It was just a little bump in the road to get Kane here. So after I got the epidural, it was around 3 o'clock when I got it. Well, it was 5:30 when they came in to tell me I could start pushing. Well, I started pushing, and it took all of me to get all my breath in there to do it. They had to give me an oxygen mask because I just couldn't breathe good. And I think they give it all, I think they give you a mask, everybody a mask when you go into labor. But I was pushing and pushing and pushing. He was not coming out. I tried different positions. I literally had my knees to my face. Like, I was ready to get him out. It hurt so bad. And like, you have to take a deep breath in and then push all you can. And after, like, and they count to 10, so like after 4 my face is already red and I couldn't breathe. So it was hard to get to 10 and push him out. When my doctor got there, they decided to vacuum him out, so they had to put a vacuum on his head. And it's not like the vacuum you're thinking of, but it's for labor. But they put a vacuum on his head, and after a couple of sucks he was out. So I was pushing for like an hour, and he was born at 6:36 on February 19th, 2016. And his full name is Kane Michael Mendoza, and he was 6'1" and 19.5 inches long. And since they had to vacuum him out and he was early, then they had to take him to ICU, and I literally got to see him for like 2 seconds. Tanner didn't get to hold him, I didn't get to hold him. They literally let me look at his face and took him away. And then they had to stitch me up because I did rip down there, and I was just laying there like, oh my god, this is gonna suck because I don't know when I'm gonna get to see him. And I just waited 9 months to see my baby, and they're already taking him away from me. And I did start crying, but I finally stopped, and everybody came in to see us after that and was talking to me, and I just wanted to eat because I did eat on the way there, but I was getting sick to my stomach, and I just quit eating, and I should have ate a lot more because I was starving by this point, because a pregnant girl eats freaking every hour to every 2 hours, and I just went, 18 hours without eating. So My mom went and got me McDonald's. All I wanted was chicken nuggets. I was saying that all day. After I get done having him, I want chicken nuggets, I want chicken nuggets, I want chicken nuggets. So my mom went and got me some. Everybody was coming in to say hi, and of course I didn't get to see the baby because he had to leave, so everybody left after saying hi to us and congratulations and stuff. And then we ate dinner, and I couldn't even walk at this point. I was still numb, and it was probably like 10 or 11 and after everybody left, and then Tanner went to the nursery to see him, but I couldn't walk, so I couldn't go over there. It was about 2 in the morning, I think, and I was feeling like I could walk. So I got up and I asked if I could walk and go see him, and they said yeah. So we went down there and seen him, and he had IVs and everything all on him, and it was really sad. And then that next day they told us that they did his brain test, and it looked like he had something in his head that might be bleeding. So they wanted to watch it overnight, so we had to stay there. Well, I had to stay there 48 hours anyway, so Saturday we were there because of that, and his oxygen level, he was on oxygen, and he had an IV and all kinds of stuff, and they just needed to watch him because he was early, of course. So we stayed that night, and then Sunday they decided that it didn't look like anything was bleeding in his head, but they wanted to do one more test. So, and he was still not breathing on his own. His oxygen level kept dropping every day. So we had to stay Sunday. And Monday they told us his brain looked fine. Nothing was bleeding in there. They just saw something weird in there. Well, his oxygen level was still dropping every day. It was dropping. So we stayed there Monday. Tuesday, still dropping. We were still there. Wednesday, yeah, we were there Wednesday because his oxygen level was still dropping. They were still watching it, and I was just so ready to go home, and I didn't think they were gonna let me stay anymore there. And after she told me that he was gonna have to keep staying there, I started crying because I didn't want to leave the hospital without him, because you can go in there every 2 hours or every 3 hours and see them and feed them on your own, and I wanted to make sure that we were going to be there if something did happen to him and we weren't at home and we had to drive up there. And I was just getting very sad that I wasn't going to get to leave with them and all that. But luckily the hospital was not busy in the postpartum part, so they told me that I could stay there until he was able to go home. And plus I went like 3 days without peeing on my own. They make sure you can pee by yourself before you go home, because they did have to put a catheter in me every time I had to pee, and I couldn't help not go pee. Like, my body just went through so much trauma with them pulling him out with that vacuum and getting stitches down there and all that stuff. So I literally could not pee for like 3 days. So finally I went pee, and they let me keep staying there. And then we found out on like Monday he had jaundice. So that's another reason he had to keep staying there every day, is because his jaundice level, they wanted to make sure it was down. And Thursday, we finally were gonna get to go home, and they were like, well, his jaundice level is still pretty high. And I was like, oh my god, like, I'm tired of hearing this every day. Like, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to take my baby home. Ready to get out of the ICU because he's been in here for 5 days. Well, Thursday was the 6th day, and they said his jaundice level was pretty high, but he passed all his other tests, his car seat test, and his oxygen test, all that stuff. He passed all of it, and they said, we'll bring you back tomorrow and see if his jaundice level went down. Well, all day on Thursday, they kept him under 2 different lights to make sure his jaundice level would go down. And Friday, we had slept our first night at home, and we had to wake up and go to his pediatrician and go take him back to the hospital to get his jaundice level checked. And his jaundice level was good. He didn't have it anymore. But we just saw his pediatrician, and I was breastfeeding at first, but it got really hard to sleep and feed him every 2 hours, because like during the day when I was awake, it was fine to feed him, and I was fine feeding him every 2 to 3 hours, but once it got to like that 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning time when I wanted to just sleep and he would wake up to eat, I would have to feed him, and it was hard. And then after you feed him, you have to pump, and it was just too much work. Because by the time I got done feeding him and burping him and changing him, he would go to sleep and then only sleep for an hour because he woke up the hour before that. So he'd sleep 2 hours at a time, and then I'd wake him up, feed him, burp him, change him. So that all took 1 hour, and then he would go to sleep for an hour and wake back up. So it was just hard, and I wasn't getting enough sleep, and then finally I wasn't pumping and drinking enough water, so my milk supply went down a lot, and I just gave up on it. We put him on formula, and he had to go through 3 different formulas before we got on the one he's on right now, because he wasn't pooping, and he went 3 days without pooping, and I was really freaking out. So we got him on this formula, and now he's doing a lot better. He's gaining weight. He is 10 weeks and 2 days today, and he weighs 10.7. People kept coming up there to see him, and it was kind of hard because they couldn't go in ICU. They had to just look through him through a window. Oh, and I had him on Friday. Well, that Saturday we were actually supposed to have my baby shower, and we had to do it through webcam because we had already sent out invitations. We spent $50 on stamps. We spent $50 on invitations, and I didn't want to have to send out invitations again, and I had already invited so many people to this to come, and I didn't want to send out more invitations and do it a different time. So, and I had not saved up for any, like, I didn't have any diapers or anything because I was hoping for my baby shower to get a lot, so that's why I hadn't bought any. I was stocked up on wipes, but I didn't get any packs of diapers beforehand. So I was like, I have to have my baby shower because I'm gonna need diapers. So they went ahead and did it, and we had video chat, and they showed us all of our gifts and stuff, and it was nice. Didn't have as many people as we sent out invitations for, but that's fine. And we did get a lot of gifts for a baby shower, and he got pretty stocked up on everything. He has clothes, so many clothes. I'll do a nursery tour if you guys want me to. I'll show you guys his room and all that stuff. But yeah, his baby shower was okay. I wish I could have been there physically and enjoyed it. It would have been funner, but I had fun just watching it through the camera and stuff. And then when we got home, we got to open the presents again and look at them ourselves and all that stuff. So that was pretty cool. But that is all for my labor and delivery story. And if you want to see anything else, just comment below and I'll get it up for you guys. I'm gonna try to upload 2 to 3 times a week to get everything going, and yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.